Salute. What's buzzing? Knicks Nation, we're back at it again. Welcome in to the post-game live as the Knicks pulled off a huge win. Brilliant game overall. The guys stepped up off the bench. We saw a small ball lineup. Precious Achiuwa continued his dominance, and it was great to get another win in Philly now as we start the road home, ladies and gentlemen. All road to the playoffs now as the Knicks go back 34-22 on the season. Let's talk about it. Welcome in, everyone. How are we feeling after that? Man, it got a little tight towards the end, but the Knicks had an awesome first half, established dominance, and had enough firepower to hold off Philadelphia. We are the superior team right now, as we've won both games in Philly. Both teams shorthanded, as we know, but the pleasing thing is we closed it out, right? Role players stepped up. DiVincenzo hit a couple of huge dagger threes late that really gave a separation. IHart hit one as well. Brunson, we'll talk about his game. He turned the ball over a bit, but gave us enough, assisting as well early in the game. The Knicks were up 69-46 at the half, and it looked like it was going to be another blowout, right? But credit to Philadelphia, right? They didn't want to get embarrassed on their home floor. They stepped it up defensively. They increased the intensity, and the Knicks had to adjust, right? But adjust we did. I thought Tibbs called some good timeouts. We obviously, could have done better at the free throw line, no doubt about it, right? That's going to be a story we'll talk about. Another huge story to come out of today, the lineup that closed the deal, right? Small ball, Precious at the 5. Isaiah Hartenstein returned, but on the minutes restriction as well. So smart work there. I'm glad, they didn't, go full throttle with Isaiah, but awesome work for Precious Achiuwa. We'll talk about him, right? We're going to give out the grades and the game ball tonight. Let's chop this thing up with the best chat in the biz. The small ball lineup, Deuce McBride was in it. Got some critical defensive plays like he always does. Yeah, and the Knicks won this one with hustle late. Obviously, the first half was swishing and dishing. There we see, welcome to New York. Bojan Bogdanovic, 6 of 6 from deep. He was an absolute flamethrower, could not miss, and we're going to need more of that. So awesome to see that, and great work, New York Knicks, to start the break. First game after the break with a big dub. Right, let's get it. Salute Dirty Dancer, Will, Buzzer Beater, Michael Drake in the building. Old Head. Yeah, we saw some really different things. I really like Precious Achiuwa's game again. As we know, he continues to step up, right? He's going to get the game ball for me tonight, right? He continues to astound us with what he's doing right now. He has to play no matter what. For a guy 6'8", but great wingspan, continues to be a beast on the glass as well, right? And I'm going to give him a gold star tonight because he's playing like a most improved as well. So signature performance from Precious Achiuwa. I thought IHart gave us some really good minutes as well. But yeah, the obviously the story was Bojan Bogdanovic in the first half. Man, led the scoring with 19 at the half. He finished with just 22, but helped the Knicks, shoot 44% from deep, 48% from the field, fam. The 15 turnovers will stand out, but we did force 18. I love the 6 blocks. Jericho show had a couple really good plays tonight too. The bench really stepped up, right? And I'm really looking forward to talking about, what the possibilities are with the lineups as well. Assists, 24. Brunson was doing really well in the first half, had 6 assists. So Jalen Brunson was doing it on that side, finished with 12, right? Outstanding, despite the turnovers. We really should have finished with 30 assists. We were on pace, but once again, credit to Philly. They were never going to make this one easy in the second half. The New York Knicks were underdogs, in the betting. And normally when that happens, when the underdog is up by 23 points at the half, you're going to see, the betting favorite usually close the gap, man. But look, we held Philly to 96 points, under 100, a big plus for the defense tonight. 110 of our own, obviously without OG, Randall, and Mitch, who we'll talk about throughout tonight's show. But it's so good to be back, right, with everybody and chopping this thing up. Knicks basketball, we missed it, right? I'm ready. I'm rested and recharged for the home straight in the season. The Knicks made a couple roster moves as well, which we will talk about, of course. Daquan Jeffries on a 10-day. Yeah, I haven't got much to say on that yet. Of course, Jacob Toppin takes a 10-day as well. Taj Gibson, we know where things were trending to, fam. But let's shout out the chat before we dive into the grades. Buzzer Beater says, gives us a little bit of breathing room. No doubt about it. Michael Drake, Knicks win. Knicks win. Dirty Dancer says, rough Brunny game, but Precious came up big. Yeah, it's a common theme now. Yeah, he continues to come up big as well. Salute, Will. I'll take the win all day. Good resilience. Answering all of Philly's runs. Yep. Definitely got a little bit of luck, as well as we sort of dug our own hole with the free throws, fam. Alec Burks giving him free Chick-fil-A for life. It seems like, man. As Buzzer Beater says, this was the Burks I was afraid of. Well, Burks was really good in the first half, but inconsistency that we saw. Thankfully, Bogey, absolutely came to play in the first half. He looked like 8 years ago, Bojan Bogdanovic, which is a great sign, because that means that there's more left in the tank, man. Maybe he ain't like a normal 34-year-old. Maybe, he's still got big game. And I don't think he was on a minutes restriction, like Buzz is asking. I just think Tibbs is wanting to, play the bulk of his minutes with the bench. I think he likes Hart and Precious with the starting unit for obviously rebounding, fam, and defense. But we needed more buckets. So, yeah, he could have played more. Old Head says Bogey showed his value, right? Big-time acquisition. As we talked about, ladies and gents, before the trade deadline and after, if the Knicks had only gotten Alec Burks, most people would have been underwhelmed. But when we found out it was Bojan Bogdanovic and Burks, that sealed the deal. And I think we saw tonight who is the better player, right? Not that, it was ever any doubt. And not going to say that Alec Burks ain't going to win us some games, because we're definitely going to see an Alec Burks game. Best believe that. But in terms of, handling Philly, it feels real sweet. Not going to lie. And we're going to definitely rely on these kind of wins, right, on the road, as the Knicks are 22-2 against sub-500 teams, like we know. But, it's these teams that we're jockeying with that's going to be the difference between the third seed, maybe the fourth, the fifth, right? And it's it's so good to get a win right after the break, right, to, gather this momentum, and try to finish as high as we possibly can, because it's definitely going to get tight, and teams are going to make their run, right? So, rebounds, man, rebounds continue to be elite, and that's where a lot of people favor the Knicks in a playoff series, and it's no question why, Precious continues to get minutes, because, he does exactly what Tibbs needs, which is gobble up rebounds. We haven't even really missed Mitch with Hartenstein, in great form. Obviously, he returned, and he's going to ramp up those minutes. So we got basically a light version of Mitchell Robinson, but he can do some other things. Can Precious Achiuwa. He hit 1 of 2 from deep as well. So he is 6 of 25, I think, in his season so far from deep. And that's something I was talking about. Like, can Precious make that part of his game in terms of just hit the corner 3? That's going to be absolutely big. But for today, he gets the Knicks Buzz game ball and a gold star for most improved player candidate. Man, the way he's stepping up. Give me another player around the league that went from basically out of a rotation to absolutely bowling and dominating with 40 minutes a night. Right? There ain't a player in the NBA that's doing that right now, except this man. And I love Jericho's play tonight. Again, we'll talk about that. But I'll bring up the box score, and we're going to give out the first grade. Precious Achiuwa gets the game ball. What are his numbers? 7 of 9 and 1 of 2 from 3. Like I said, 3 of 7, though, from the free throw. So he was a culprit, left 4 at the free throw. But, man, 4 offensive boards, 11 total tonight. Absolutely beasting again. 18 points to a sneaky 18 points. He gives you, that production that that we're going to need without Julius. And we'll talk about the updates coming through with Julius. But you know what? Plus 15, right, in a 14-point win. He was the best Nick all night in 37 minutes. Really consistent. It's not even like it's one good game, couple down games, average game, good game. It's like good to great to good, good, great, great. It's like Precious Achiuwa has arrived as a player in this league. What do you guys think? What are you thinking for the grade and the game ball? Precious Achiuwa gets an A+ performance once again, picking up where he left off, fam. The break seemed to do him good. A lot of Knicks good tonight, but he was absolutely outstanding for his contributions, his length, his size. Yeah, he continues to be pesky with his wingspan. And definitely a guy who's, late lottery kind of, he's living up to that kind of potential with that play. We obviously traded Quentin Grimes out, but it's good to get another young player in because Precious is still pretty young. And I already see that, the talk about the Raptors, and what, the fans are thinking out there. Obviously, you got to salute to the coaching as well. We're giving Achiuwa a platform to succeed here as well, but all credit to him first and foremost, because he's taken these opportunities. He's rugged. He plays hard. Everything we love as a Knicks fan. And the coaching staff, they must be like absolutely licking their lips with what Leon Rose has done with this trade. Obviously, he's put in more work than OG Anunoby has now. So it's basically the Precious Achiuwa trade. All right, as of today, we know that's going to change when OG gets back. But man, what a trade! Vaughn, salute A+. Buzzer beaters with the Chewy. That's your name for Precious. Chewy gets the A. Dirty Dancer says Colby White. Yeah, he looks like he's a real candidate for that. MIP. Dante Exum is injured now as well. Yeah, he was playing really well. But yeah, obviously when we did the trade, we did it early. So Precious has had a pretty decent, sample size. And he's been balling since the day he set through the doors. Since the day he landed in New York. Yep. And he will factor in, he'll make Tibbs really think twice about, like playoff rotation and stuff like that. And I know that's, it seems like a long way away. We've still got 26 games left. Players to come back from injuries and all of that, but it's going to be really hard to keep Precious out, right? And even a guy like Jericho Sims, who played really well tonight as well, will most likely be out of a rotation as well. But you know what? We're going to need these bodies, and it just goes to show that as we sit here now with our 34th win, it's been, a lot of it's been on the back of the Knicks players stepping up all over the place. One guy goes down, the next guy up, and that's where we sit, right? As we look around the league tonight, and the Cleveland Cavaliers look like they may have picked up a loss playing Orlando. That's going to be huge as well. Just like this win tonight man, we're buzzing. Feels so good to beat Philly, right? So that was Precious Achiuwa. He gets the game ball and an A+ performance. The one thing I will say about Precious's 3-point shot, it looks really good in terms of the form. If, like I said, if he can continue to hit the corner three, that's going to be awesome. Now, a quick word on the lineups, to close it out. Precious at the 5. You heard Wally and Mike mention it on the call. Switchable. The best thing about it is it's quick. They can play in transition, and we can switch. Precious Achiuwa is a big who can switch onto wings, onto guards as well. You got Hart out there as well. You got Deuce who stepped in as well. So, man, I'm feeling Tibbs's lineups to close it out, and we're going to give his grade as well because he definitely got the lineups right towards the end. But Bogdanovic, he missed that layup. The lead got cut to 7, and then he went with defense to close it out, fam, and that's exactly what we did. We closed it out. So I really feel like the durability, the switchability. Obviously, it's not going to work against size, but it worked tonight. Jericho was there. Obviously, Isaiah easing his way back, but great to have him back as well. That's a storyline that we cannot gloss over because, Hartenstein as our starting center is big time. Next guy up, let's talk about Jalen Brunson, right? Coming off his first All-Star appearance, maybe a little rusty, but that situation is understood, but Brunson flashed all of his game, tonight. Assisting, 12 assists was huge. Drawing fouls, which I think he definitely has a beef, a rightful beef with the refs today. Inconsistent. Again, it was really loose in the first half, and then they started to call it real tight. So players do have to adjust. But he was seeing different coverage. Credit to Philly once again. That they really stepped up the intensity. They gave Brunson different looks, from trapping to kind of soft trap to zone. And he was turning the ball over tonight. It happens. So let's look at Brunson's numbers and then his grade. The captain, he was 5 of 18. So that's probably the worst shooting performance of the season. And it didn't hit a 3. 0 of 4, but 11 of 11 from the free throw. So he held up his bargain with the free throws. 2 rebounds, 12 assists, 7 turnovers, but got a couple steals, a block, 21 points, but was a team high, plus 20. When all said and done, the cream rises to the top. He's the lead ball handler. He's going to be hard on himself. He's going to fix that. But 7 turnovers is very unlike JB. But you know what? 12 assists. He's spraying the ball all over the place, and plus 20 as well. Hit all of his free throws. But man, the 5 of 18 is not what we've seen, not what we're used to seeing, and probably what we won't see very often. What do you guys think for Jalen Brunson's night? Was one of the reasons we won. I'm going to look at it like that. Not the main reason we won, but was one of the reasons. Wouldn't have been one of the reasons we lost. I feel defensively, I thought Brunson was really solid. They were definitely trying to go right at him. But I'm going to chalk it up to a little bit of rust, a week off, messing around with the All-Star stuff like we know. So I'm going to pull up Brunny's grade. I'm going to go... I'm going to go just by harder standards, but also the fact that he contributed with 12 assists as well. A B+. for Jalen Brunson for this performance. Led us to victory still, right? And a comfortable 14-point win late. Credit to Philly once again. They didn't want to get punked, on their home floor. And, it's easier said than done to sweep a team on the road. Like Philly with pride, playoff aspirations, missing guys, shorthanded as well. They definitely, stepped it up, and they tried to be overly physical with Brunson. So that's the thing. He's dealing with a lot of those knocks, fam, and a lot of the hits that he takes throughout the game as well. But he stayed with it. 12 assists is great. Team high as well. And you know what I expect? Brunson to probably come back next game and to shoot lights out because, he's always bounced back. And he's always done it. So, well done to the captain. He'll be picking up some A's, right, in no time. When he's back, we play Boston. Huge game on ESPN on Saturday night. I cannot wait. That's going to be a showdown, right? Absolutely brilliant matchup with that game, the Battle of the East. Now, the next guy we'll hit on is Josh Hart. I liked his game tonight. Josh Hart was running the break. Was a little sloppy at times, but let's look at his numbers. 7 of 13, hit 2 of 5 from deep, including a big three-pointer late to basically seal it. I really felt the game was over after that one. 12 boards, right? Huge effort again in 44 minutes. So Tibbs, if you're putting all your money on somebody who's going to play the most minutes, it's either Precious or Hart right now, even more than Brunson. He loves that energy, rebounding, hustle. Like Steve Kerr says, there's 50-50 guys that get you the 50-50 balls. And then there's guys like Josh Hart that get you the 30-70 balls as well. 3 assists tonight, a block. Just 2 fouls, 18 points as well on a plus 13. Hart was big, big time. Once again, a guy who can help close it out. But when he's hitting shots, but he's being decisive, that's perfect. No hesitation. And when he's hitting them, it breaks the back of the defense. Hart not only makes rebounds or grabs rebounds that break teams, but when he hits those shots, it absolutely breaks those teams. When he can't hesitate. He also hit all of his free throws, so he was a guy who stepped up at the line. Demario in the building, salute, great win. Go Knicks, Jay Giant, let's go. Big time start to the final stretch of the season now. I'm counting it down, 26 games left. Big one against Boston. We'll talk about OG. We'll talk about Randall later in the second half of tonight. And, of course, the roster moves, lineups, stuff like that. What's good, King? Oak and Mace had way more muscle than Chewy as well. It shows the hustle, the fight of him, to fight undersized sometimes. But, the wingspan really helps. He seems like he knows where to be as well, positioning. And I said it since the day he came in. I said, if he can master where, Tibbs wants him, what Tibbs wants from him in terms of rebounding, hustle, energy, he's going to have a bright future here. And he's absolutely doing that, and, there's a heap of guys around the league that just ain't in the right spot, and once they get to the right team, you can really see what they can do. For Hart's grade, Michael's gone with the B+. Hart plays, with his heart. Pun intended, man. Definitely. I keep saying it, Hart's a player that's going to win you some playoff games, which is the biggest compliment I can give somebody. He's not a player for the regular season so much, and why it's kind of low-hanging fruit that some people do get on Hart. He does have boneheaded plays, all of that stuff, but when he's focused 100%, obviously the return, he was focused tonight, back to the Villanova area, and he was flossing the drip, and he definitely came to play tonight against Kyle Lowry and co. So for Hart's grade, man, he did so many good things. So I've got to go with the A minus for Josh Hart today. Yeah, continues to be a huge factor, in those lineups where you can switch. But yeah, he hit shots tonight. That was a big difference. A lot of nights, we get this stuff from Hart, but we don't always see him take the shot. He passes it up sometimes. Sometimes he makes a jump pass as well, turns it over. So Hart had 3 turnovers tonight. Okay, 3 turnovers. That's about the level of what we can sustain. But yeah, he's 2 of 5 from deep was huge. 7 of 13. Right, playing like the Hart of last season, and a plus 13. Well, in big minutes. Tibbs went to Hart and he's like, man, I know you didn't play in any All-Star activities. You better be ready for 45 tonight. So yeah, that was big. Let's get on to the next man, including Bogdanovic's huge performance off the bench. But before we do that, we've got to hit on the big Ragu as part of the starting lineup. Showed up late when it was money time. Right? That's what I love. A player can be a ghost for 3 quarters, but when they show up when it's money time, yeah, I can deal with that. So the big Ragu didn't have his best game, was pretty quiet until the 4th, but he was 6 of 15 and a 4 of 11 from 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, including a huge runaway steal for the fast break slam as well. But it was the 2 daggers, the no conscience DiVincenzo that we need, that this team really needs. And, I'm going to say it, he's clutch. He's got ice in his veins that you see. We've had a lot of players in the past that, are afraid to take, I'm talking the big shot. I'm talking the big money shot where the lead's dwindling, the crowd's going crazy, the Knicks need a bucket, and a lot of people aren't built for it. But DiVincenzo is showing that he's built for it. He stepped up and drained those huge threes to help seal it. 16 points, plus 13, and continues to fill up the stat sheet. Rebounds, assists, all over the place, but yeah, just wasn't as efficient from the field. But 4 of 11, almost 37%, considering it was a high volume as well, and not one of his best games as well. But yeah, stepped up huge late. So I stream what's good, Bogey with the B minus. Devo with the big minus. I got Bogey on my mind because I'm ready to hit on him as well. Solid grade. Buzzer beater's gone with the B plus. Yep. I might be very, very similar with that as I pull it up. The big Ragu. Those, when you show up when it's money time, that definitely gives that grade a little bit higher of a tick for me. So yeah, I agree with buzzer beater B plus for Dante DiVincenzo, despite a more quiet game overall. But yeah, the breakaway steal is a part of the game that I love from Devo. He's really a betting man. He likes to gamble on those steals, but scared players basically shrink. In a big moment, you want a player with those stones, that aren't afraid. And another reason why it was such a great pickup. Again, another guy returning to the Villanova area. He, that's where he was basically made a name for himself. As a college player, a champion. Yeah, ever since he's been in the league, he's been a really solid pro, but he's having his best season of his career. I'm so happy for him as well, because that just goes to show that, New York is a New York is a place now where players can go to, and they actually have a better production, best year of their careers type of thing, as well, on a winning team. So that's just perfect, all around. And previously people would go to the Knicks to get paid more, but DiVincenzo took a pay cut to come to the New York Knicks. Now probably teams like Detroit, some of these other losers offered him a contract, but he said, what, I'll take my talents to the Knicks. I reckon I can really help them win, and my game really fits in. And I think, it was pretty clear once Quentin Grimes struggled. I think the Knicks really wanted to, give Grimes a longer shot at starting, but yeah, it just became too good to pass up once DiVincenzo started to produce since the start of the year. So yeah, another clutch performance late from the big Ragu. What's good, Parish Duggar in the building? Salute, CT and Knicks fam. Gutsy win in Philly town. Yep, that's 2 of 2 in Philly. A 36-point win. And it looked like we were going to do it again, man. But, Philly had some pride. But yeah, they are, as we talk about later, I think they're a clear tier below the Knicks right now. There's no doubt. Obviously without Embiid, right? They're really forced to, to really step up, and they don't have the players that the Knicks do. That's the difference, So yeah, once again, appreciate you for the super chat, Parish Duggar. Love your energy, your passion. You got the streets buzzing. Yeah, like I said, not every team can deal with short-handed, players. You need backups that are capable, and that's where Leon Rose should be in the, executive of the year convo, because yeah, he's signing guys like Bojan Bogdanovic, which we're gonna talk about, trading for guys and also signing guys like the big Ragu. So yeah, we gave a B plus for Hart. I gave a minus for Hart, B plus for Devo, B plus for Brunson, A plus for Precious Achiuwa. Now, before we hit on the bench and the bogey buckets show, we have to talk about Isaiah, because he got the start. He was back on a minutes restriction though, so we'll talk about what we saw from IHart. One of the most important New York Knicks down this stretch of this season. Just great to see him back and healthy. And I'm really happy that we are, taking more of a cautious approach, because yeah, we want this man healthy for Game 1 at Madison Square Garden on the first night of the playoffs, right? He is going to be our starting center most likely. Even if Mitch is back healthy, I think the wise thing would be to bring Mitch off the bench, but we'll see when that happens. But yeah, man, this guy is so important. Played limited minutes on his return, 10 minutes, no buckets, got us a couple rebounds, one of them offensive, got us a steal, -2. So yeah, quiet night for Isaiah. So not much to really talk about. Just him, I guess, getting his feet wet, and coming back and getting back into that rhythm. Not that he really missed much time, but you factor in the All-Star break. You factor in that he's a little limited with the Achilles soreness and all of that. But just a great sight to see him back. So we'll give him an incomplete, right, in 10 minutes, because yeah, there's no point really assessing a grade for such a limited sample, right? But we know what Isaiah brings, what he's all about, right? He's basically Precious Achiuwa on steroids even, but Precious is actually closing the gap right now. from what we've seen. Now, for the bench lineup, right, and a player who we made a big swing for at the trade deadline. A lot of overreactions and reactions alike after the first 3 games. Mind you, it was a 3-game period where it was limping to the All-Star break. It was, let's just try to get healthy. Let's try to figure things out on the fly as well. Yeah. But even then, he had a really good fourth quarter against Indiana where he scored 9 points. Looked really comfortable being a New York Knick, though, ever since day one. I think his shots have come within the flow of the offense. It's really been, pretty comfortable, pretty seamless. He parks out in the corner where OG was earlier. But the difference is he looks way more comfortable, dribble drive, putting the ball on the floor, making the read, post-up play as well. But tonight we saw everything, man. He was on fire. The leading scorer at the half with a 23-point lead. He had 19 and finished with 22. Bojan Bogdanovic, signature 6-man type game as well. So he finished 8 of 13 in just 23 minutes. That's efficiency. 2 boards, finished with 3 steals as well, which you love to see him get gritty, go after it. He's playing for a winning team now, so that cannot be understated. He must be really happy. And a +3. Finished with just 3 points in the second half. Missed the layup, but it was pretty heavily contested, and he probably got fouled as well. I didn't see the replay. But yeah, that came at just a critical time, and I think Tibbs probably just felt that he's a little slow on defense. I want to rock with the small ball lineup, which paid off. But look, we don't win this game without this man, and he definitely stepped up and had his best game as a New York Knick. Signature type performance, gold star, because it was a 6-man type performance, man. Anytime you get 22 points off a bench piece in 23 minutes, that's big time. So salute to Bogey, right? And I'm going to give him an A- as well. What are you guys thinking? AP's in the building, salute. Almost thought we were going to blow it. Yeah, I knew Philly was going to come at us hard. 23-point lead at the half's a really kind of tricky situation to be in as well. If Randall won't come back, go get Mook Morris. Yeah, I tweeted that out as well, Parish Duggar. I agree with you. Where it's a wait and see. But I think Randall will get back on the court this season. And as we also talk about the super chat, as Buzzer Beater says, salute. Please tell me Randall will not need surgery. So what I can say is I feel like Randall is really ticking all the boxes. He's on track to make it to the court this season. But it's how he feels. It's how the injury heals while he's back on the court, which will determine if surgery is needed or, whether he can survive until the off season, I think. So I'd love to give you a definitive answer, man, but I'm really optimistic still. I think, as I said, he will get back on the court and really give it a go. I think that's what we know to expect with Julius. He's an absolute warrior. He hates missing games. And he's just all about it. I mean, he was the one that started the movement, man. 2019. I haven't forgot that Julius Randle, kind of like Amari Stoudemire, he signed with the New York Knicks as a free agent and said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to help that team. So, yeah, Julius, ever since he came, the Knicks have started to move up. No coincidence. And I think, he's going to have a huge playoffs, hopefully. But, yeah, they've got to be, really smart, continue to rehab well. Day to day, just continue to get therapy on the shoulder as well. Once he's ready to take contact, they're going to get him out there as soon as possible. And I'm really excited for when that happens. But back to Bogey, key player tonight. Yeah, 6-man type performance. Now, is he going to stage as just a bench player? That's interesting. What we saw tonight is that, not going to overreact to one decision Tibbs made, but it was a pretty telling decision, to go back to the defense of Precious Hart, to combine though with Deuce McBride as well, and take Bogey off the floor. The thing is, Bogey was so hot in the first half, but it's kind of common that a player can cool down. You got the halftime break. He doesn't get back on the court as a bench piece until 7 minutes in, maybe six or 5 minutes into the third. Then though he hits a huge three midway through the fourth to give us a 13-point lead, and then Philly made another run again, unfortunately, as well. So yeah, we know Tibbs loves defense, but I think Bogey, he was a bit stiff, getting the foul call on Oubre. I think that was a pretty good contest. But yeah, man, I tell you what, offensively, he gives us another offensive weapon that is huge, because 110 points tonight, right? We were too strong, for Philly. You take his production out tonight, and it's basically a toss of a coin, in terms of the points. But yeah, a 19-point explosion tonight gets this man an A-, in his best game as a New York Knick. But I didn't even feel like he tried too hard as well. That's the good thing. He scores effortlessly, which is exactly what Breen and Wally said, on the call. Experience, we're going to need that in the playoffs. Best believe that. Another guy who's, confident shooting as well, won't go into his shell. Yeah, he won't freeze when we need a big shot. So that's great. Like I said, he's been around the league a minute, and he's only missed the playoffs once in his career. So that's big, So we're definitely going to need those threes. 6 of 6 tonight was unbelievable. Man, we were loving it as the Knicks went up by 23 points. Philly were stunned, man. But we picked up a huge win, and I'm loving it, right? Back to 12 games over 500, 34 and 22. We get that 4-game losing skid done with. Right? We lose that taste of defeat that we had before the All-Star break, and we're turning a new leaf, right? We got guys back healthy, and we're waiting on, obviously, OG Anunoby and Randall and Mitch, which we'll continue the conversation about. But smash that like button, fam. The chat's buzzing right now. And we'll continue to give Bogdanovic his flowers for his performance. He fits into small ball lineups with OG. I do expect OG Anunoby to be the next Knick to return. I think Julius Randle might be last. Maybe even Mitch might become back before Randle. But if I'm a betting man, I'm probably going to say OG and then Randle and then Mitch. Just because our bigs are holding us down. But yeah, loved his game. Bogdanovic continues to be hot from deep. And he shot pretty well since coming in the building. So, that's exactly what we did the trade for, man. But this guy who closed the deal tonight, he was awesome. Gave us another reminder that, hey, Deuce McBride, I want to play. I want to play in the playoffs. I want to keep my spot tonight. Now, the shot wasn't really fallen, but made huge impacts defensively, stopped dribble penetration. Did a lot of good things. Deuce was 2 of 4 from the field, missed his 2 threes, couple rebounds, an assist and 2 steals Deuce McBride, signature game right there. 4 points +2. Helped close it as well. Tibbs, trusting Tibbs guys. Right, I love it. So was he really impactful late in the game, which will up his grade a little. And I really feel like he's a really valuable, I mean, whatever you want to say, whether it's a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th man, Deuce McBride, right? He is a player who has grown this year a lot. The shooting has come along, leaps and bounds. I think he's obviously the defense is always valuable, especially when a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who tonight was really getting loose, and we needed someone to help stop that. So credit for Tibbs for trusting Deuce a little more. He played in how many minutes? 16 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to say that's pretty decent. 16 minutes. Help close it out as well. He gets a B for me tonight. What do you guys think of Deuce's game? AP says, very proud of Deuce this season. He does the little things. Yeah, absolutely, man. You said it. He does so many things that don't show up on the box score as well. Whether it's a deflection. A lot of people talk about Deuce's height, but his wingspan helps. He really gets those deflections that could disrupt the defense, just like Precious Achiuwa can as well. They always mention 6'8" Precious, but his wingspan is really good, as well. So yeah, players like that can usually defend above their size. And Deuce can guard 1, 2. He can guard some threes, as well. For a guy who's 6'2", that's really solid. It's switchable, as I said. Yeah, and Nick Yaks also mentioning, McBride huge slowing down Maxey in the 4th. He couldn't shake McBride, B+, A-. I think Deuce got a sample of the playoffs last year as well. I think, he deserves a chance in the playoffs. I think Alec Burks, who we'll talk about, his ball handling, decision making is very questionable still. Obviously, he's a better pull-up scoring threat. But Deuce McBride's really closed the gap, with his shooting this year as well. Buzzabita says Deuce B-, but he's a shooting guard in a point guard's body. Still needs to work on decision making and the shot selection. Defense good, energy guy. Yeah, I think he can work on a lot of those things. One area where is another weakness is getting dribble penetration. But for me, a player who just plays to their limitations, plays within themselves, usually doesn't go wrong. Once they try to do things that are outside of their game, they usually get unstuck. But Deuce has been playing really under control. If he's trying to drive and the lane gets cut off, he usually pulls it back out. Where sometimes a IHart, a Burks, they'll force it. They'll try to drive, as we saw IHart tonight. He'll force the drive. And sometimes you end up with the turnover as well. But yeah, man. Now that we've hit on Bogey, Deuce McBride, we're starting to see the strength of the bench really, and hopefully more consistency now come together right now. Precious has obviously, been filling in the starting look. We have Burks, that lineup with Deuce. You got IHart and you got Bogdanovic there when OG and Randall are back as well. So yeah, a lot of these guys are getting starting minutes, but their natural position will be back to the bench, man. But that just shows how strong the New York Knicks bench will be. And, it'll be a bench that'll probably beat down, most NBA benches, right? If we're keeping it real. I mean, Deuce McBride's a hound dog. Alec Burks is a pretty decent bench piece with Bogdanovic, IHart, and Precious. as well. Obviously, Mitch factors in as well when he's healthy. So yeah, that's why most pundits are very high on this team, as we are, and the ceiling is untapped once everybody is healthy. And could the front office think the same? They gave Daquan Jeffries a spot, 10-day, and Jake Toppin another 10-day. So they're kind of signaling to me that we have all the pieces we need, right? Maybe one more spot open if a Mook Morris gets bought out. I'd love to hear your thoughts, fam. Let me know. What should we do with these final spot or two? Should these guys not stay on a 10-day? But we have to hit on Alec Burks, and then we'll hit on Jericho Sims, because I like what Jericho did, tonight as well. Another underrated player. But Money Burks, MJ Burks, his fourth game as a New York Knick. One of his better games, but we saw some things that we want to clean up. He was 2 of 5 and 2 of 4 from deep. He had a really good first half. The way I saw, I think, Burks looked better, hitting the 3-point shot. Obviously, after the trade, coming into New York, it all happened really quick. So, a lot of people were overreacting. I was like, let's get to the All-Star break, and let's let these guys settle in a little bit before we really start to see what they can do. So positive signs. Alec Burks looked better. 13 minutes though, not a lot, but 2 of 4 from 3 is good, right? We don't need a whole lot of volume from Burks, right? Shot selection is key. Pull up when you're open. Create the drive and kick if the lane is open. But 1 of 3 from the free throw. He's got to clean that up, fam. He had a chance for a 4-point play or 3-point play because he missed the 3. But he missed, 2 of the 3 free throws, right? He gave Philly free Chick-fil-A tonight, and they were buzzing off Alec Burks' misses, tonight. So, yeah, a little shaky at the line. He can calm down and knock down those free throws, fam. But 7 points +1. Is this Alec Burks average game that we're gonna get used to seeing? Hopefully we see a little more. I won't be shocked if a 34-year-old Alec Burks is this kind of guy. At least he knocked down some shots tonight. So I'm gonna give Alec Burks C+ for me. 2 of 3 from deep. 1 turnover. Looked a little shaky handling the rock, but I think he's going to settle down. I think it's going to take maybe 8 games, maybe 10, but I think he'll be clicking by the playoffs. I think he'll know his role, which is going to be 10 to 15 minutes max in the playoffs, because Brunson and DiVincenzo. I think the great thing, fam, is those guys are so good now that I think we're not going to have to rely on Burks. It's just not going to happen. A 25-minute Burks night, it's not going to be common, because Hart, he loves, and then Devo, Bogey as well. Michael Drake, salute. Drizzy Drake. Alec Burks, the Chick-fil-A king. If I'm Alec Burks, I'll be going to one fan in the stand. I'll be like, where's my Chick-fil-A as well? Nick Yak's going with the C+ as well. Yeah, for Alec Burks. Yeah, interesting 13 minutes. I don't think he's going to play much more than that now. I really think you got Deuce, and like I said, with DiVincenzo fully healthy, Tibbs loves to run him, out there as well. Want to see more from Jake Toppin? Here's the next project. Yeah, I think he's deserving of a contract now. I think, the writing was on the wall with the Knicks giving, a Westchester guy a deal. I think they also save a little bit of money as well. But yeah, Jacob Toppin's been with us all season for the most part. It benefits him to be around the locker room for hopefully a deep playoff run. And yeah, hopefully he could be a guy that continues to grow. He's had 40-point games, so he's got talent. He's just a little raw at the moment. Speaking of raw, man, this guy continues to just create eye-opening plays. Today he was sound defensively, also was in the right spots, deterring shots at the rim. He is Jericho Sims, right? A drafted player that we've grown and developed as well as Deuce McBride. There's not as many of these guys left, but it's great to have these, young players still on contracts, giving rotation minutes, production. Not many winning teams around the league are doing that. And obviously we've had to because, we've been so short-handed, but not all the players that you give opportunities, take their chance. So, Jericho played 18 minutes tonight, right? Was out of foul trouble, just 2 fouls, 4 points, but 5 offensive rebounds, 5 defensive, 10 total, 1 of 2 from the field, and both of his free throws sunk, and a +5. Salute. 2 assists and a block. Filling the stat sheet is the jump man, Jericho Sims. I love the fact that he's still getting played. Obviously, Isaiah's on the minutes restriction, so that Tibbs hopefully is recognizing that we need to play a few more bodies. So that's the big tick. The next thing is he played really well. The amount of times he was in the right spot, to challenge a shot. You see the block, a couple steals. Just a really, really good game from Jericho. I think in his minutes, not a huge sample, but I'm gonna give Jericho a B+ for his grade. In his sample size, because 5 offensive rebounds is crazy. But then the block and the steals, efficient from the field and the free throw. Once again, Jericho, 58th pick, stand up. Will we see more of Sims, hopefully, with Isaiah on a minutes restriction? I hope so. I don't want to play Precious, into the ground either. And we know Isaiah, how important he is as well. Of course, as we touched on before, and we'll talk on a bit more as well, Taj Gibson is no longer a New York Knick as of now. Maybe they, make a signing later. I think they're going to see how things play out with Mook Morris, with the other teams. The key date is March 1st to be eligible for the playoffs, to be on a roster. So we still got a week. We have a week until players can either demand a buyout, maybe if they want to change a team, or a player who's a free agent right now, the Knicks can snap up. And I think what the Knicks have done, to me, signals that they're keeping options open, because Jake Toppin signed to a 10-day, so that's minimal commitment. The Knicks can cut or replace him after 10 days, but he gets a little bit of extra money, which helps him out. Daquan Jeffrey, same thing. Veteran, knows Tibbs, knows the system. What did we say? The Knicks always go to familiarity. So they give him an opportunity for 10 days as well. But what happens if someone better becomes available? The Knicks can then make moves. So look out to see what happens. I don't think this roster is completely set yet. Obviously, they're at the league minimum now, so they don't need to add anyone else. There is a 15th spot open, if they do want to do that. I think they will fill that before the playoffs, just in case. But that will be probably a Westchester guy. But yeah, what they do with the Jeffrey spot and the Toppin spot is going to be fascinating, because I think there are guys out there that can help. Who do you guys like? If the Knicks going to bring someone else in, I mean, Toppin could have stayed on a two-way, so we didn't need to give him this roster spot. But maybe they're looking into the future as well. Like the chat was saying, maybe they see Jake as a future Knick roster player later next year, and they want to give him playoff exposure as well. So yeah, that could be key. But as I said earlier, with the injuries and we're needing players to step up, Jericho Sims has been awesome this season. He's had his obviously kind of young player mistakes and all of those usual things, but the good has been way more better than the average. And talk about a player that just plays to his strength. He's great in the dunker spot. Pick and roll is solid. And good screens, rolling hard. The putback tonight was insane as well. How could I forget about the big putback? Here we go, as I'll bring that one up on the larger screen. I mean, get out of the way when Jericho's coming down the lane, right? This was probably highlight play of the night for me, man. Kelly Oubre, he caught a body. Yeah. That's what you want to see from every single big on the Knicks. Obviously, the clear instruction is to crash the glass, man. He came out of screen with that one. And that's what I think I said earlier. What's helped Precious Achiuwa be, better with the Knicks than he was with the Raptors. The coaching staff probably given these guys, some pretty simple but clear instructions that, what we need from you. We don't need Precious out there on the perimeter, doing all sorts of playmaking. Get your behind into the paint and gobble up those rebounds, right? That's the key, right? When the shooters shoot, be in the right spot. But also he is, factoring into blocking shots on the other side. He's also reading the game better. I think, the coaches working with these bigs have done a decent job, these guys are really stepped up. We can play small ball. But obviously when Mitch and IHart combine, we're going to be lethal, absolutely deadly. So that was basically the rotation tonight, right? Bogey with his A-, welcome to the Knicks, and a gold star performance as a signature six-man. Burks, Sims, and McBride, really solid performance from the bench. When you can get, was it 29, 23? When you can get 27 points, 37 points, off your bench, that's huge. 37 points off the Knicks bench. That's exactly what helped us tonight. I think Philly don't have, what's his name? Buddy Hield can give them that little bit of scoring that like they did. Kyle Lowry tried to give him a little bit, but they don't have 37 points coming off their bench either as well. So yeah, great work overall. Leon Rose, the trade has had great early returns regarding the Bogdanovic Burks trade. Obviously we needed to do something because we were shorthanded, as well, fam. But let me bring this shot look up from Bogey as well. I've got that up on the screen now. Bojan Bogdanovic, man, best game as a Knick. Look at those threes, man. Both sides spacing it out. Once he knocks down those mid-range, will be money. But yeah, had a couple, one in the corner, one just foul line extended, as well. But yeah, I think he was hit on one or two of them. But yeah, man, efficiency, that's what we need. We obviously lost quickly. We got OG. We had a spot for a scoring punch off the bench. Alec Burks, it could be hit or miss, but I think Bogdanovic is going to be more of that hit. I think that's what it's going to really look like. Bogey, he ain't messing around. He's been in the league longer, and he's played for winning teams as well. Yeah, yes, sir. Nick Yak, I agree. The 10 days is to maintain flexibility so that we can still make a couple moves if needed. We've got 7 more days until the playoff rosters are finalized as well. So, with that said, let's kick on to the NBA conversation now, as I'm going to bring up today's games and we look at the standings. Fam, after the New York Knicks picked up a huge win in their return to league action after the All-Star break, right? And what a perfect start it was. Coming back, beating Philly in Philly again. That's going to be huge for the standings as well. So let's get this up now. We have Utah battling Hornets. That game's close. We have the Nuggets, who's whooping the Wiz. Okay, the Spurs and the Kings locked at 39. We've got the Warriors and the Lakers close as well. The Raptors and former Knicks had a big win over the Brooklyn Nets, who fired Jacque Vaughn over the All-Star period as well. They were going nowhere real quick. The Knicks, 34-22. I like the look of that. On track for 50 wins. Now, you guys let me know, how many wins do you think we'll end up with? We're on pace now. Obviously, we only needed to win 17 and 10 to get 50 wins. Now we only need to win. Now we only need to basically go 16 and 10 for the rest of the way to get 50 wins. So it gets easier with every single win. Fam, people are going to cash in with some of their parlays. Indiana, not too worried about them yet, but they picked up a big win. The Cleveland Cavaliers picked up a huge L, fam, at home as well, to the Magic. So that's going to be huge for the standings. Let's take a look. And the Magic picked up a win. The Thunder, big win. The Boston Celtics, who we see on the weekend, picked up a big win as well. Right, so I'm going to load up the standings now, and we'll see where the Knicks sit. Because we'll see we are only a game back of the Milwaukee Bucks, ladies and gentlemen. As we're now 34-22, the Bucks are 35-21. Huge. The game on the weekend against the Celtics, man, I'm really excited for it. Obviously, we're going to have the guys we had back today. I don't expect, nobody really picked up any injury, thankfully. And I think we're going to really have a good chance. We're going to need a better shooting night from Brunson, especially from 3. We're going to need Precious Achiuwa to continue to be great in the paint. We're going to need minutes from Jericho, probably from Isaiah, bigger minutes from Isaiah. Just 10 tonight. But the Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis. Right, this could be an early playoff preview, fam. Maybe Eastern Conference. I tell you what, man, we need to find that 3rd seed, right? I'm not playing now. I need to get the 3rd seed at least. Respect to Cleveland, they have built a really solid, season, a 3-game cushion, but it's just 3 games. It's still 26 remain, and I think we play Cleveland as well, so that's going to be huge to win those ones against those teams where we're fighting. The Bucks, I think we've played the Bucks all of our allotted games, so I really think we're going to have to take care of Philly twice. We play Philly 2 more times, but we do play the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll play the Heat. I think we play the Magic 1 more time as well at MSG. We owe the Magic that one, man. Let's send them out of the play-in with that, man. What are you guys feeling? Michael says, CT, I want to beat the Celtics. Go at the Celtics. We need that 3rd seed. Yeah, we need to let them know, man. Health first. But Randall and OG, man, what a boost that would be to get them back in the next 14 days. Hopefully we could get OG back sooner. I think he's a chance to return first. A better chance to return first, but I think Randall, they're rightfully being cautious, man. So you don't want to risk Randall back sooner than you need, and then the shoulder starts to feel that discomfort again, or something happens to it. So I think we're okay for the power forward spot right now, as long as we can continue to win at an above 500 rate. If we get Randall back for just before the playoffs, then that's still going to have us in a really good position. Cleveland have been playing quite a few bums, absolutely, man. I tweeted out a segment of the Brian Windhorst Hoops Collective pod, in which he went through each team. They played the Wizards 3 times. They played the Nets twice. They played the Raptors twice. They played the Pistons twice. They played the Spurs, the Grizzlies. They played the Raptors. They played a lot of really beatable teams, but they deserve to be where they are, obviously. Truthfully, it don't really matter where you finish too much. If you're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, the playoffs is going to determine what happens. We've seen the Heat from the 8th seed get it done. Now, I don't want the Knicks to finish that low, of course. We want home court. But what I mean is it's not the end of the world. If you produce in the playoffs, that's the most important thing. But I don't see the Bucks turning it on or anything. I think they are stuck. I really think they have clear weaknesses in their roster right now that they just can't patch up. I mean, they already they're out of bullets. They signed they signed Gallo for their buyout signing as well. So I mean, I don't really know what they were going to do. Does a Mook Morris look at them and say, I can really help them? That would be a big pickup if they could. A guy who can play maybe a bit of both sides of the floor. Gallinari, I don't know, man, how much he's got in the tank. Right? If we beat the Celtics this week, it'll be one of the biggest wins of the year, 100%. I still love the... I'll rank a couple of my wins this season as well. You tell me yours, chat. I really like the obviously the earlier Philly win, 36 points in Philly after we got OG. That was beautiful. I love the Denver Nuggets win at home. That was huge. I love the Phoenix as well. The Timberwolves, that was a big win. And the Heat, beating the Heat and Indiana at home. And I love the Brooklyn Nets win in Brooklyn, which was, a really, it was too close for comfort, but the excitement of the final comeback was good as well. But yeah, I'm open for more signature wins. I know we can get it. But yeah, what tonight's win does, fam, it creates that separation now where, it was half a game heading into today. Now it's a game and a half. So that's perfect. I don't see the, Philly, able to win at a higher clip than us, outside of health, because, their roster is missing, a huge part of their scoring with Embiid. Now, and then, yeah, we're just looking up at the Bucks now. One game. Let's beat Boston and continue to pile on the pressure, man. And then pile on the pressure from Cleveland as well. Salute Christian. I swear the Knicks should not drop past home court advantage in the playoffs. Yes, sir. Fourth or above is what I'm looking at. As AP also says, yeah, I'm comfortable playing on the road too. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of pressure being the home team in a playoff matchup, but we have the soldiers now to get deeper, and I think the Knicks getting home court should mean that we're playing these teams that are weaker than us. If it's Philly and we have home court, if it's Pacers, Magic, even if it's the Heat in the playoffs, I just think, yeah, our roster is more stacked. Yeah, obviously we just need health, man. We need guys back. Now OG Anunoby had an interview. Yeah, there were some people maybe misinterpret what was spoken, or maybe the message wasn't quite clear. OG, talked about that, he's anticipating he's back, this season, in the regular season is what he meant. Some people thought, I thought it was a guarantee he was going to be back. Well, number one, with health, there's never any guarantee when it relates to surgery, but it was a minor procedure, which is good. And so, yeah, with OG, it's step at a time. It's get comfortable shooting, and then comfortable taking hits, taking contact, and then, of course, ramping up to practice. But, yeah, man, I think OG will be back in the next week or two. I don't think it'll be too much longer, fam. I just think they don't want to promise on a return date because they have to tick the steps. They have to go through it. But Julius is, I think, is going to be a little longer, but I think he is going to be back on the court, right, because there's no setbacks yet. So he is trending to be back and being back in the regular season as well. Not first game of the playoffs, but back for the regular season. But when he's back, it's going to be a case of how does he feel game to game, is there any setback? Does the shoulder feel perfectly fine? And then, okay, surgery is not needed. That's the situation we're facing right now. People want a definitive answer. Does Randall need surgery or does he not need surgery? But that is yet to be determined because he's not back yet. You see, this is not an injury where it's, you have a muscle cuff or a knee strain and it's healed and then you come back. This is a shoulder dislocation, where anyone who knows about that injury knows that, the shoulder can pop out again. Right? It's not that simple. It's complicated. But the thing is, he's feeling fine now, which is good. He's feeling great. He's working out. He's getting all the steps correct, and he's going to be back on the court. Right? It's how he feels later. I think that's going to be big. Because, yeah, he's a power game. He's a power forward. He takes hits. He plays physical as well, post up. Bustling for rebounds, all of those things, man. Your shoulder is everything when you're a basketball player because you shoot, your arms are always extended, and then there's the physicality aspect, fam, too. But I would definitely not be shocked if Randall needs the surgery after the season. Right? I think that is probably even more on the likely side yeah, as well, because yeah, a shoulder dislocation, does, you know, it does affect a lot of things in terms of the muscles and all of that, fam. And yeah, I 100% agree that the Knicks should just take it easy with that. Precious has been doing really well. Tonight was a great step in the direction of Bogdanovic, able to come in and give us 20 points per game, on limited minutes as well. More 3-point shooting. See, Randall's points came from points in the paint and buckets in the mid-range, but Bogdanovic's points will come quick. If they come, they'll come from the 3-point line as well. Yep. And Nick Yak says, and you can never have a problem again if there was no damage like he was. Yep. I think Randall, he's going to continue to push to be back this regular season, but it's going to come once all the practices and everything's been correct. So that's what's good. And yeah, I think we want to surprise some teams as well. We want to be ready for the playoffs. We want to snag that third seed, hopefully. Hopefully even second, man. But with that said, man, the next question I want to ask you is, looking at who's below the New York Knicks, right? Which team, which matchup would you prefer in the first round? Right. I know there's some people say to me that, I don't want to play this team, Indiana. I'm a little scared of Indiana, or I don't think we match up well against the Magic. But if let's say best case scenario, we gun for the second seed or that we get the third seed, that means we're going to match up against, you see the teams on the screen. It's either going to be Indy, it's going to be the Sixers, maybe the Heat climb up a little bit, and they end up in the 6th spot, we end up in the 3rd, and we face the Heat in the first round. I'll go through mine first, and then I'll shout out you. But in most preferred matchup to least preferred order, I'm going to say that tonight's matchup, without Joel Embiid, obviously is the clear, right? We've beaten Philadelphia now. I think, with full health as well from the Knicks, I think we would definitely look to be the favorites against Philadelphia. Obviously, Embiid, when he's back, if he's back before round 1, yeah, it's going to be even more tricky than Randall's situation, because that's a meniscus thing. So yeah, so Philly, I got to have them now as my preferred matchup, and then probably the Pacers. Then probably the Heat, or the Heat and the Magic after that. See, the Magic aren't playoff tested, but their roster's far more dangerous for me than the Heat. The Heat bring that tenacity, they bring the coaching, but we've looked pretty solid against them this season as well. But the Magic have been a bit of an Achilles for the New York Knicks. So yeah, right off the top of my head now, I'm going to go with the Sixers as the most preferred matchup. I don't think the Bucks are going to fall down that much unless we're the 4 or 5. But if the Knicks can get the 3rd, I don't think we'll see the Bucks. But I guess it's still a possibility, because the Bucks could still fall down even further, and the Pacers might climb. And then yeah, Philly, and then I think it's the Pacers, then the Heat, then the Magic. But if the Bucks are in there, I would have them right after Philly. It'd be Philly, the Bucks, and then the Pacers, the Heat, and then the Magic. I think the Magic have what it takes to give us a 6-7 game series out of all of these teams. I'm not really worried about the Pacers as much. I think they play more of a regular season style of ball. Yeah, Nick Yak agrees with me. Not Orlando. I mean, I'll be confident we can win the series, but based off our matchup so far, I think it'd be tight. I think they've got the physicality, they've got the size, they've got a bucket getter in Paolo. Yeah, and we're factoring in if there's Julius Randle or no Julius, Paolo Banchero is still going to be a handful for a team with or without Julius. Also, Nick Yak says, hopefully Philly can fall back to 6 or 7 and we can finish 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, that would be great. I think 3rd is really looking likely for the Knicks now. I think we can stave off Philly. They're not going to get Embiid back with much time left in the regular season, if he comes back at all. So I think that's why they did the Buddy Hield thing. I think we'll catch the Bucks. I really do. I think they're a mess. Damian Lillard is still a really good player. And I'm not about to give any shade on Damian Lillard, but just the way they're constructed, he's not the same player he used to be offensively as well. It's not like he can carry you every single night. He's a really solid player. But then Giannis has got his weaknesses as well. So yeah, I think the Bucks. I think the team we saw tonight, without Julius, without OG, can be better than the Bucks, and that's saying a lot, fam. That's saying a lot about them. It's also saying a lot about Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. And then look, Philly. We've handled Philly now. I think they're kind of yesterday's news right now. Not trying to disrespect them, but I think we have their number now. And then I want to give respect to the Pacers and the Magic and the Heat, because they might be below us, but we've seen on any night they have what it takes to beat us, and that's what's dangerous in the playoffs. But it's going to be a battle, man. Would a Heat or a Magic series be an absolute physical battle? Especially if we're without Randall. It's, worst case scenario, that's going to be huge. Talking about Precious Achiuwa being arguably an MVP of a series now, since getting him, man. Almighty finesse, smoking that Boston pack on Saturday. Look, that would send a huge a warning shot, definitely, man. I think Boston are looking at the East like we are, and they might be looking at, the Cavs, they're going to be cute. The Bucks, we don't really fear them. Then the New York Knicks. And I don't think Boston would be looking much... I don't think they'd be looking much past the New York Knicks right now. Because Philly, without Embiid... Okay, inexperienced Pacers, Magic. An older Heat team. I think if we... And I've heard from Bill Simmons, a lot of the Celtics people, that when fully healthy, the New York Knicks are the team that the Boston Celtics fear the most. There's just no doubt about it now. Look at the East, man. They're not fearing the 8th place Heat. They're not fearing a young Orlando team. They might be able to take a few games, but it's done in 5 or 6. See, the Pacers, they're a solid team. They're a cute team with Tyrese, with Siakam. What else have they got? Who else is going to step up in the playoffs? Some of their young players, Mathurin, Nembhard, Neesmith. Those guys haven't really had a taste. See, as we know, fam, it's one thing to look gold in the regular season. Playoff basketball is playoff basketball. There's nothing like it. Nothing. Not no regular season game, not no game on TNT. There's nothing like the playoff basketball atmosphere and pressure. When Tyrese Halliburton is trying to run and gun in a playoff game, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see how that works out. Siakam, he has his days. He's not a guy that's going to play well 4 out of 4 playoff games. I think he's going to be hit or miss. But similar story. I think the Pacers can take 2 games off you if you're Boston, but I don't think you fear them. Obviously, the Heat, the Sixers and the Knicks with Embiid, right? If the Sixers can get Embiid back by the second round, if he's back, he's looking good. He's looking like the MVP, Embiid. Then Boston have got a series. Then they've got something to think about. The Knicks at current strength, at more strength, is definitely going to give Boston headaches, I think. If Kristaps is not healthy, that opens the door, because I think OG Anunoby is going to be healthy as well at that stage. And then, the Bucks and the Cavaliers, man. The Cavaliers big men, they're going to have to step up. No doubt about it. Christian says need to be healthy for the playoffs. We will be healthier, I think, which is the most important thing. Healthy means Julius, I suppose. Mitch, I think it's basically a given that Mitch is going to be ready by some point of the playoffs. Probably close to round one, even before then. OG will definitely be back. So it's basically Randall. But with Bogey, with Precious, with the current team, with OG playing at the 4 as well, I think we could still be an even stronger team, than we were before the trade deadline, with RJ and Quickly. I think we did well to address some of the scoring needs. We just have to execute. AP says the Knicks at full strength. I think we could beat the Pacers. Yep, I can see that. It'll be a fun series, that's for sure. I think physically, our big men with Isaiah healthy will be a big factor. I think he can win the Miles Turner matchup. I think we saw that loss to the Pacers. I thought we saw, obviously, without our towering rim protection. I think that's key. Will says, I kind of want Miami. It would be great mentally to get past them and get us primed for a run. Yes, and yes. One thing I will say though, I don't want to see the Heat in round one, right? And I feel like we can handle them, but what they're going to do to us in round one, we might not have any bodies left by round two, man. We always just seem to lose a player whenever we play the Heat, man. If we play the Heat in round one, it's going to make a run to the third round. It's going to make that even more difficult. Even if we do get out alive and win in 6 or 7, I think that's going to be tough. I also think an Orlando series is going to be really physical as well. So that's why I've got those two teams more in my least preferred. I think Sixers, Bucks, Pacers, it would be fine, I think. But the Magic and the Heat, I think, would really make it difficult because they've got some big men. Obviously Bam Adebayo, and then you've got the length of Paolo, Jonathan Isaac, and their other big men, Wendell Carter as well. AP says Knicks could have beaten the Celtics during the first game of the year. They didn't get KP out after the second technical. Yeah, that was an issue, definitely. I think KP, I've continued to say, is their X factor as well. If you take KP off the Celtics, the Knicks and the Celtics are like really close. Like, I know Derek White, Drew Holiday, giving them a really good defensive wall. But you take Kristaps out, DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, I think we have what it takes to neutralize Tatum or Brown. And then I don't think they have an answer for Jalen Brunson when he's on as well. So I think that's going to be huge. But we also haven't played the Celtics since getting OG and somebody who can match up on Kristaps. Now what's going to be funny is we're not even going to get to see that this Saturday, assuming we don't get a miracle, but OG is not going to play on the weekend. So we're going to have that kind of ace up our sleeve, for when, if we do face Boston in the playoffs, it's going to be for the first time that our new look lineup is going to be facing Boston. So they're not going to get to see the impact of an OG, and then Isaiah, Precious, even Mitch, maybe, back. Yeah, so that's going to be massive, man. And this is why I think the Knicks can handle the Pacers as well. I think, the playoffs, everything slows down, man. Grind you out, slow half court. I think Julius Randle as well Julius Randle is the kryptonite for Indiana. He can bully. He can take advantage of that matchup with Pascal Siakam, I think. So I think as we continue to talk about, man, health, but I like the fact that we are getting healthier. Isaiah is one huge step. We obviously got DiVincenzo, Bogdanovic. They were just minor things, but Isaiah, the next guy to get back is OG, then Julius, or Mitch, and then Julius. But I really like the guys that are holding us down right now. And a credit once again to Leon Rose for the multiple moves, because we didn't just make one move, man. It's been multiple moves, and it's been guys absolutely stepping up and producing in a major way. And leading the bunch is this man, Precious Achiuwa. He's factoring in now, right? And you can't leave him out of the equation, because he's going to be in the playoff rotation regardless. I think, Mitch coming back, we've got to see how the ankle looks. But this guy is basically doing what Isaiah was doing. Like, basically, Isaiah is giving us the production Mitch was giving us as a starting five. And then Precious Achiuwa is now giving us the production that Isaiah Hartenstein was giving us before as well, with a little bit more ball handling, playmaking skill set. Obviously, Mitch was a little more elite rim protection, more elite rebounding, but we're not really missing a big jump with these two guys as well. And Jericho Sims, honorable mention, as well, fam. So as we get ready to wrap this thing up, and we look ahead to Saturday, right? Eastern Showdown on national TV against Boston, right? This is what we came here for. The Knicks pulled off a statement win against the Eastern Conference rival, and now it's pretty clear that the Knicks have Philadelphia's number without Joel Embiid, right? So we look ahead. What's the next casualty that we can knock off? Let's start at the top. Boston, we're coming for you, and we're going to make it a really good game. I kind of like that OG is not going to play in this one as well, so that, again, it's going to be a little bit of an ace up our sleeve later. Boston's not going to really see what we're fully capable of yet, but this weekend we'll give it our all. And I think if we can win, that's just going to that's going to cause even more fear in their camp, So we wait to see what happens. We'll be live again post game. Salute chat. Got the streets buzzing. Knicks basketball is back for the second half of this season. We're making moves, and I really like what I saw tonight from some of our guys. We closed it out. It wasn't easy. Philadelphia still got some talent, but I like who stepped up, and what we had. Right? It was a complete team effort as well. So thanks again. Smash that like button. The streets are buzzing, and be well. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.